Okay, guys, so here we are with Jasper. Jasper's a 3-year-old Mustang Stallion. I think he's going to be actually going to be 4 this spring. Um, Pretty mild-mannered horse, but he still can get a little bit worried about things. And so he takes the halter pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and put that on him. So just because we got the halter on him fairly easy, certainly doesn't mean that this horse is halter broke. What we have to teach him now is how to um, understand what the halter means, how to give to it, how to give to pressure. We've done a lot of desensitizing with him, which is so by doing all this desensitizing, we're trying to get him to at least give us an easier chance of teaching him how to handle these pressures, because kind of once we hook this line on him and we start to put pressures on him, he's going to get a little bit bothered, and there's not a whole lot we can do. We can kind of prep him as much as we possibly can to get him to not react when something is going to become scary, because when I hook this line on him, it's going to be scary. So I'm going to do a lot of things with him before we just attach this line to him. So the first thing that I want to do with him is start to touch him, and I want to start to put this rope on him and let him know that when he feels things on him, he doesn't have to panic. So we've done quite a bit of desensitizing with him, and he's doing pretty well. But I want to touch him on his neck, and I want to run this down his legs. So we're going to do the best we can to get him to start to trust us and know that we're not all bad and we're not going to hurt him. So he handled that pretty well. So now we're just going to let this rope go on him a little bit up over his head. I'd like to see him. I like that he's looking around. It tells me that he's not locked up, in a freeze state of mind. But I know he can darn sure jump out of here in a hurry, if he gets scared enough. So I know that sometimes we have to do things that are outside these horses' comfort zone. If he were to get sick or hurt or something like that. And, obviously a technique of earing a horse to get him to stand still is something that's been used, but I tell you, I'm really not a huge fan of that one, just because of the trust that gets lost. You might get that thing done where you've got the horse restrained for that moment, but the trust that you lose in that horse is tremendous. So that's a you have to weigh the situation. Once you get up there and you get your hand around the ear, I'll just rotate it around, where it's soft, where he'll let me. A lot of times they're real stiff, and so you'll kind of get a real small circle as you rotate. As they relax, and that feels pretty good to them, that will start to open up. It's kind of like a massage. It'll start to loosen up, and that circle will become bigger. And really, that's what we're looking for. Um, that was good right there. You see his head comes up because he starts to worry. I'm just going to kind of scratch up here a little bit. There we go. In a second, I think he's just going to drop his head down. He's going to start to realize this feels pretty good. Right there. Nice. Nice lick and chew. That's exactly what we're waiting for. We're waiting for him to realize that these are good things, you know, and let that worry go. Pretty tight in the air right now. There he goes. You start to rotate that ear and you start seeing those eyes just kind of slowly close and the head come down. So he's doing pretty well with the ears, but we're going to kind of work with our flag a little bit. I got to be careful here, you know, in the beginning when he flinches. I don't flip that too far over him and he sees that on this side, because that could cause him to maybe jump towards me rather than away from me. That's good. Just kind of waiting for a second. He still has his leg cocked. I like that. I'm kind of waiting for him to relax a little bit. Show me a sign that this doesn't really matter. He's kind of locked up just a little bit. I'm going to wait for him to unlock himself. Maybe do a lick and chew or bend his neck. There's the change. That's what I'm looking for. Kind of come back into his body. Let that fear go that he had. And that was the only reason he was kind of not moving. We'll just keep doing. There's a nice change. I like that. Let's see, Phil. Yep, good. He dropped his head, but he wasn't locked up and froze, not a fear. Now we got a good lick and chew. Nice. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is gonna go over his head with this. I'm gonna start to see these things coming over that from this left eye here over to that right eye. Very nice. I'll let him take a break here. That's good. Pretty quick he came off of that. I like that. I'm going to ask him to back up. There we go. Nice big sigh right there. I like that. Now we're going to go from this side over. Okay. Always want to do both sides, both directions. Yeah, nice. Head came down. Mostly this is about talking to these horses. I need to be able to get them really desensitized on things that happen quickly. That's we have to do that. But in the beginning, I think it's better to kind of give them the answers, maybe on how to respond when he starts to feel a little bit nervous or a little scared. And that response is to just kind of stand there and relax. He's not in the fight or flight or freeze mode. But he's kind of worrying about it, wondering if he should be. And I'm looking at all the signs of worry, the stress indicators, that little step back right there. It tells me that he's stressing just a little bit. Eyes aren't really blinking too much. He's telling me that I'm worried about that flag. Is it going to hit me? Is it going to get me? And as soon as I see signs that he's going to relax or not worry about it, then I'll stop moving it, and that will tell him that's what he needs to do to get rid of the problem. Now, he may look real calm on the camera, but I can look at his face and see that he's tight and he's worried about this. I'm just going to wait for 1 sec, see if his head maybe comes down just a little bit. Maybe he looks with his eyes somewhere else, doesn't care about this anymore. I got to be patient while I'm doing this. I got to let him find this himself. There's the change. Even though he stepped back, he stepped into a more relaxed posture. And that's what I want him to learn. He's going to lick and chew here in a minute. We'll just go ahead and let him. There he goes. Very nice. So that's all desensitizing stuff, and he seems to be handling everything pretty well. What I'm going to do now is, I think we're gonna start to give him a little pressure. There we go, and have him understand what that means. Okay, I'm going to start to ask him just to bend his neck. So what I'll do is just take hold of the end of the halter here. I'm going to put my hand up kind of on his wither. There we go. The more I can get a lateral bend, a lateral flexion in him now before we hook a line to him, the more control I'm going to have, and the less, hopefully, the less reactionary he'll get when he feels that pressure on his face. The first time I tried this, he didn't, he wanted to pull away. His instinct was to pull away and not bend his neck. It was to kind of go the opposite direction. So I need him to understand, no matter what, to yield to that feel. So we're starting to teach the feel right now. Okay, so we did that left side there. Now we're going to go ahead and do the right side. He's a little bit more nervous about me being over here, so they'll tend to kind of stiffen up a little bit. Yep, he's just a little stiff, so I'm just going to see if I can get a little give here. Right there. There we go. Just want to stay with him easy. I could have pulled his head around a little bit harder, but then that's me doing it for him. So I really want him to find the correct answer when I do this. And the only way I can do that is just to let him find it. He gets a little nervous there. There we go. That's just going back to his instinct. He's going against that pressure. He's thinking he needs to go against it and pull away from it. So we're trying to re-channel his brain on how to do that, how to just come off of that pressure, easily. Think about it. Don't panic. Very nice. Okay, so we've done a lot of desensitizing. We kind of got him flexing a little bit. Now all I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask him to go around each direction. So I'm going to start off here going to my left, have him go around me, and I would like to see him stay calm. I'd like to see him just walk around, and we're going to do the walking in both directions. Then I'm going to ask him to walk and trot and go back down. So guys, here in the beginning, I'm just doing this real slow. I'm seeing how little it takes to get him to move, how much I can free up his feet, how responsive I can make him with using the least amount of energy that I have. I don't want him to become reactionary. I want him to understand the cues. So I'm not trying to make him super responsive. If I do something later with him where I'm going to move cows or cut cows, I might, at that point when we train him for that, we'll get him to be more responsive. But right now, I just want him to respond with the easiest pressure and let him figure out, good walk, to respond with the easiest pressure so that he stays below that threshold. He's not bothered. He's not acting reactionary. He's just listening to my cue and figuring out what that cue is and responding to the cue itself, but not feeling like he's got to jump out of his shoes to do it. Not just yet. See, I don't want to push him and have him think that he's running away from me. I never want to have this horse run away from me. I just want him to respond to what I'm asking. I want him mentally to stay with me all the time. We never want to lose our connection to these guys. So guys, I really appreciate you watching today. He did fantastic. Tomorrow we're going to probably be back out again with him. And so we'll do some more video. But if you like the video, please subscribe, hit the like button, send me a comment. I really appreciate it. Anyway, we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a great one.